Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to give just one more minute here for everybody to jump on. Just hang tight. We'll get started shortly. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank you for joining us today on this webinar. We're going to be covering Connect for Medicare, which is our online enrollment tool system. And we're going to do a brief little walkthrough of the Pinnacle Financial Services website. We just launched a new website, so there's a couple ways to get to Connect for Medicare, and I just wanted to do a little quick overview of the website. We'll also be hosting a webinar later next week on a full overview of the website to run through everything. A couple housekeeping things. We do have everybody on mute here, and so feel free to ask any questions in the questions box. We will glance at that when the webinar is over, and we are going to be recording this, so we can send you a copy of it as well too if you'd like to re-review it. My name is Dustin Sharrock. I'm one of the sales directors here, joined by Nick Pallo, one of the senior sales directors, and we are on a team and cover all the same states. So this is going to be PinnaclePFSinsurance.com. Feel free to jot down this number if you're not already contracted with us, or if you want to give us a call in after the webinar, have any further questions. The phone number is always located on the top left-hand corner of it. So it's PFSinsurance.com. A little bit about us here. You can see that we have our blogs, communities, contact your team, which is really nice. So if you need to get a hold of, hey, who's my sales director? What state is he covering? You can take a look at this. If you need to talk to somebody about life annuities, long-term care, you can see everyone's extensions here, their emails, and our numbers there. We're not hiding from you. We want to hear from you on a regular basis. So definitely take a look at this if you need to know who to get in contact with here at Pinnacle Financial. Some of the news, we keep updated with anything that's going on in this business, or anything that's going on with Aetna, Humana, Global Atlantic, any updates, if they're going to be hosting any incentives or anything like that, or just any updates with the carriers. We keep that on here for your use as well too. Products, another big one as well here too. This is going to list the carriers that we offer here at Pinnacle Financial. All the major ones are on there. So you'll be able to search by Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement, Medicare Part D. So they're all located here to show you the carriers and the companies that we represent as well too. And over on the side as well, they'll have another list if you want to click on the life, the annuities, and when you actually click on them, it will give you some information on them. You can request information. You can visit the carrier's website, and then more about the carriers, which is really nice. Gives you a little detail on each of them individually, just more detailed information on them, which is nice. It's going to be, again, that's going to be listed on the products, so you can see the carriers. You have Medicare, annuities, final expense, health, life, and long-term care. Services, this is a good one you're going to want to take a look at as well too. Agent resources, and discounted CE credits and discounted E&O. If you're coming up to that time where you need to renew some of your continuing education, or you need to, reinstate your errors and admissions, they do have a discounted on the website here, so feel free to take a look at that. It's one of the cheapest that I've seen as well too. Secure email, we offer that free for all the agents as well too. As we know, there's 2 compliant ways to get us over applications. It's going to be faxed or secure email. It actually encrypts it, sends it over to us, so no clients or your personal information could be intercepted. Again, we're going to dive into the Connect for Medicare shortly here, but I just wanted to give you a little insight on some of the newer websites. You see a lot of familiarities here as well too. You have the quoting. If you click on Medicare, it'll bring you to this screen here, which is really nice. You have your quoting tools, you have your PS or PFS quoting app. I highly recommend, if you're contracted with us and you have not downloaded the app, it's called Pinnacle Quoting. It's on Android and Apple. It's really handy if you don't have your laptop or you're not in front of a desktop. That way you can run quotes on our quoting software tools mobile. So it's mobile, phone, and tablet friendly. Medicare or MedSup enrollment tool, that is going to be through CSG, and Connect for Medicare. That's going to be the big one that we're going to be diving into as well. The standard quoting tools, you can pick what you're going to do: Medicare Supplement, Medicare Advantage, Final Expense, Hospital Indemnity, and Dental. You just plug in the credentials here, the zip codes, the age, male, female, Plan F, Plan G, what plan you're looking for, smoker, non-smoker, and hit Get Quote. And we'll just put a local zip code here, just for demonstration purposes. You hit Run Quote, and it's going to list them in order from the cheapest price to the highest. You can also see it tells you that there's going to be a household discount if the carrier offers it, if there's going to be a policy fee as well. Gives you the star ratings. Market Analytics is one of my favorite buttons to click on here. It kind of gives you an idea of how the carrier, has been in the field with the rate increases. If there is information available on the carrier, they do list it on here, because as you can see, NGL, it's a newer MedSup company in this area, so they don't have an increased history or any analytics on that yet. But in years to come, they will add it on there after the product has been out in the field for a while. I just wanted to dive into that a little bit. We're going to go back here. One of the nice things is you can go to www.connectformedicare.com. It's all one word. The number, and 4 is the number, as you can see here. You can actually click on this, and it will redirect you to the Connect for Medicare site, which is Pinnacle Financial's proprietary online enrollment tool system that has been really great for the agents. Has really helped, especially during the busy AEP season. And from here, I'm actually going to turn it over to Nick Pallo, who's going to give you a demonstration of the Connect for Medicare and everything that it has to offer. So here you go, Nick.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nick Pallo, one of the senior sales directors here. I'm going to jump into one of my favorite tools here we've gotten in the last year or so, as Dustin mentions, Connect for Medicare. We have got some awesome reception from our agents since last AEP. We've written actually a lot more business than we had even expected. And the agents are doing absolutely excellent. It's really, it's done a few things. It's expanded, the territory that agents are able to sell naturally. Rather than driving an hour or 2 hours out, even sometimes for one appointment and having that travel time, naturally you're able to save that time and write more business, cover a few extra appointments in that same day. save the mileage on the car, the gas, all those things you would naturally assume. But it's even opening you to different states and things. It's also, though, when you're doing sales events and other things of that nature, we're able to knock out the applications a lot quicker, especially if you're, a little bit of a faster typer. On average, during AEP, my agents, we're half decent with the computers. We're knocking out these apps in about 8 to 15 minutes. So, as you can imagine, it's saving a lot of time. The other biggest thing I would say is it's saving us from a lot of errors on apps. One of the things as marketers here that we always stress, we're very, very huge on our support, and we're very hands-on with our agents. And one of our biggest pieces of support is our enrollments department. I think the number last year for AP was 75, that's how many agents we saved from being terminated in the enrollments department due to errors on applications and things of that nature that they had caught rather than just letting those apps get submitted to the carriers. So, on top of having that enrollments department covering you guys on the paper apps, this is just one other tool that helps you stay compliant and keep those apps nice and clean. So we're going to jump in here. Before we get going, I want to show you guys my favorite tool on here. I'm not doing applications on a daily basis, but I am helping you guys with a lot of different stuff when you're on your way to appointments, when you're in the field. So I'm logged in on a regular basis, and this is what I tend to use the most. Right here is the physician formulary and drug lookup tool, pharmacy lookup tool. So you click right down here on the bottom left-hand side, and regardless of what point you are at in the website, whether you're doing a consultation, doing a comparison, this is always going to be down here on your left-hand side. So we're just going to throw in a zip here. And what this is going to do is it's going to bring up every plan that's available within this area by carrier and plan. And you'll see here, so we'll just use UHC for instance. Let's see, we got a UHC plan. And that was a bad example because UHC isn't available here. You can tell I don't work Pennsylvania myself. So let's stick with Aetna here. So we'll do find a physician. And you'll see right here, Horsham, PA. And it takes you directly to Aetna's provider lookup right here. So rather than logging into Aetna's website and going through this and all that, you're going to go right in to their provider lookup. Now, we determine it's not in Aetna's network. All right, on to the next. Boom. Right to Humana's. Once again, rather than, all right, well, we figured out it wasn't an Aetna, now we got to go to Humana's website. We have to log in. We have to click the 6 different parts of the website just to get here. We've eliminated all that. It's strictly just a time saver for convenience purposes only. Same thing with the drug lookups. We need to know what tier something's on. Let's say Advair. That can be pricey. It can be on different tiers, different formularies. Boom. Preferred, $402 retail, but a $47 copay. We know exactly what we're working with right off the bat when we're talking to the client. So this is it makes it extremely convenient for you. As I mentioned, everything in one place. And the pharmacy would be the exact same way if you're looking for a preferred pharmacy, if you know that you're going to put them in a Humana plan or a UHC plan, things of that nature. So we're going to dive into a consultation. So I'm just going to fill out some basic information here. And the email address is one of the most important things here, and I'll show you why on this next part. And that would be the scope of appointment. Now, this is another thing where even if you're not necessarily writing the application through the system, you simply need to get a scope. Maybe you're doing the app through the mail, whatever the situation may be. You can go on here just to send the scope to a client. So we're going to email this scope out. Now, I'm sure a lot of you, if you don't have your login already, if you're contracted and certified for at least one carrier, you already have a login. All you have to do is give us a call. We'll give you that login. Now, naturally, the only carriers that are going to show in there are the carriers you're licensed and certified with us through. So you will be set up. We'll get you logged in right away. I'm assuming once you get logged in, you're going to want to play around. Keep in mind, the cookies track everything you do on this website. So as you play around, it's not going to allow you to do anything that a client should be doing on this system. And what I mean by that is we just sent the client a scope technically. So I'm not going to be able to just go into my email and open it up. Rather, I'm going to have to use a different browser, if you see right here, to actually open up that scope of appointment. Otherwise, those cookies are going to pick up the fact that I'm trying to do something from a client's perspective, and it's just going to give me an error code. And you're going to call Dusty or myself up and say, hey, your website's not working. I'm not sure what's going on. That's exactly what's going on there. So here's our email. We got, hey, Nick, looking forward to meeting with you. Please complete the scope of appointment. So as you see, here's our digital scope. Naturally, you're always going to want the client to check off all the boxes. So it gives you the opportunity to discuss everything you can. And we're just going to throw in some more info. Oh. I think I've purchased about 300 Med Advantage plans in the last 2 months. All right, so the client's portion is now complete. So in the meantime, you may have moved ahead a little bit while talking to the client while they were filling that out. So let's just say you had moved on to the health portion. Okay, they're 65 to 69, they're in good health. Now, very important, you excuse me, you have to go back to this SOA area here. Now you're going to see the client has completed the scope. You're going to see a waiting to be submitted here. You need to click on that. And here you're going to fill out your agent portion. All right, so now your scope is actually complete. That will be attached to any application you do, and that will be stored for at least 10 years. So we're just going to move along with the consultation here. And if you haven't noticed, this is pretty similar to Medicare.gov. This website is actually designed and maintained by the same people who do Medicare.gov. So they have been adding more and more features in from Medicare.gov as things get approved. Everything has to be approved by each individual carrier, so we're adding more and more functionality. So let's just throw that ad there back in. And one of the most common, the Cineprel. And that gives us enough to work with. So we have our drugs. And let's go with a CVS here. Now, one thing to note, if you do not go through and complete the sale at the time you're doing this, one thing we all love about Medicare.gov is we can input 100 drugs and we can save that drug list ID, and 3 years later we can pull that up. You're going to be able to do the same exact thing with this system. So once you start utilizing this year over year, all your clients' information is going to be saved. That's the whole point of this search profiles up here, which I'll show you once we're finished going through here. So if you started a consultation, once you put those drugs in, everything's saved for you. So here we got our plans available to us. So we see it looks like Humana is going to be good for us in regard to the drug cost. Hopefully we had done our due diligence as far as doctors and networks and everything like that. So we're just going to take a look at Humana, Aetna, and maybe IBC. Now, once you get to this point, I mean, you guys are all seasoned agents, so you're usually familiar with the networks, and you know, at this point, you might already have an idea of what product you're going to sell them without getting very deep into comparisons. That's the case once you are here. At any point from here on out, you're going to see enroll, view details, and send quote. So enroll is what you're going to use to enroll them face to face while you're sitting with them. That they all will bring up the same exact app, but that's the app you're going to fill out with them. View details will give you everything on the plan, which we're going to go over. And send quote is how you're going to actually email the client a copy of the application for them to fill out on their own. So first we're going to just do our little comparison here. So as you see, we have all of our product information here side by side. At any point, like I mentioned, you have your lookup tools here, but you're also able to check the physician directory and pharmacy lookup here just in case. Now, if we want to look, this is one of my favorite things which you can do on Medicare.gov. In view details, we can take a look at our drugs by month. So that'll break it down for the client by month so they know exactly what they're going to be looking at. As I mentioned, you have your enroll button just about any point where you're at. And let's take a look at what it looks like to get them enrolled here. And here you go. This is the application right here. As you'll see, it's identical to a paper app. One thing I will point out specifically with the Aetna apps is write down that PCP number for yourself ahead of time when you're using that lookup tool. That is the one thing I've ran into, especially with the clients filling out the apps too. Sometimes it'll make it optional. Sometimes it will require it, even when the clients are filling it out. So always have that ready for the clients as well when they're signing up over the phone. Other than that, the app is extremely easy. I don't want to add, an extra 15 minutes, 20 minutes to the webinar just by making up fake info. As I mentioned earlier, if that client has their Medicare card out and they're ready to just read off their information, it shouldn't take you more than 10, 15 minutes tops. I did literally do one in about 8 or 9 minutes, so it's really not too bad. And I'll show you the client version is going to look identical to this. So that is your application. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to have the client enroll this time. We're just going to make it simple and send the enrollment form only. Now here's another thing, and we're working on simplifying this a little bit so we can put our own code in here. Client's going to get 2 emails. One's going to be this access code here that you see here, and the second one is going to be the actual application. So seniors have come a long way. They're very tech savvy. As a matter of fact, 65% of them actually even have a Facebook page. However, doesn't mean 65% of them know how to copy and paste properly. So you can do the old right click. You can try and get them to control C and V. Sometimes it just is easier to read this code off to them. So I always write this down before I send it to them. So just take note of that. Make sure you always write that down to be safe. We're working on it so we can just type in, Pinnacle and say, hey, just type Pinnacle and you're good to go. For some reason, it's been a little process with the people who do this website. But so we just sent the app out. Oh. All right. So as I mentioned, we got our access code here. And here's our app, our Adventure Southeast Prime. We're going to enroll in that plan. Now you will see the site does take a little while to load for a lot of the things you do because there's so many redirects. A lot of the apps and things like that are actually hosted on carriers' websites due to compliance issues and encryption and all that. So as you see right here. This should load in just a second here. And here we go. As you saw earlier, same exact application. Now, their summary of benefits, boom. All the documents that we need are right here for us. So we got all our required forms. We're covered there. We're ready to go. See, now they do have the find a physician here, but I wouldn't really leave that up to the client. I think I would make sure I have that covered ahead of time. Just want to check and see if we have any questions here real quick. Bear with me, everyone. So someone asked, would someone really need to use a different browser? You don't need to use a different browser to play with it. You could use like an incognito window or a private browsing window. It's only if you're playing with the website to see how it works and the functionality. I mean, if you're just, if you learn enough today that you want to just go full steam ahead and utilize the Connect for Medicare, then no, by all means, you only need to use one browser, stick with it, and that's it, and use the functionality. The only reason we're bouncing back and forth is, like I said, we're bouncing back from being an agent and a consumer. So, basically we're acting like we're writing the app and we're, being the consumer as well. So, to answer that question, no, it's not a necessity. All right. I'm going to dive into one more thing. See one more question there, but it's not showing it to me. I apologize. All right, I'm going to jump on to the last part I wanted to show you guys here. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. So this tends to be one of the most popular features of Connect for Medicare. So when you're logged in, you want to go to My Account. You're going to see this little URL down here. Now, I don't want you to copy this URL. I want you to physically click this copy button because that is not the full URL. Now, once again, going back to the question we just had, you do have to open either an incognito window or another browser, one or the other. So, make it simple, we're just going to use the other browser. And let's check this out real quick. This is your personal URL, or Pearl for short. As you see, now every one of you already has this website set up. This will have your agent information here. And this is exactly what it looks like. Take a look at this. Clients can go on and shop for the plans on their own. You can market for this. You can, if you don't have a website already, you can simply buy a domain. You call me up, I can have it pointed to your private domain in 5 minutes. I've done it a ton already. And the clients can go on, just like Medicare.gov. They can shop for their own plans. They go through the consultation, and it'll help them choose the coverage. It'll only show the plans that you're, excuse me, I got the hiccups, licensed and certified for. And anything they enroll in, you get the sale. It's as simple as that. They can go on and do the consultation, or they can just go right to the plans. If they have an idea of what they already want to purchase, boom, view all plans, and it'll show everything you're able to sell. And I mean, if you don't have a website or any type of web presence at all, my opinion, you're crazy not to use this. Here's one did a couple weeks ago. Insight.com. Medicare by Meg. I have an agent named Meg. Boom, there you go. Meg Jacobs. Set up. This took us 15 minutes to go on GoDaddy.com. I think it was $71 for the domain name and hosting for 2 years. And we created the account, set it up, paid for it, and I redirected the link, and we were done in 15 minutes. So that's something you're interested in. If you're already licensed and certified with us, give me a call. I'll help you out. Today's a slow day. It's a perfect day to do it. I mean, I'm surprised we have this many of you guys on the webinar today. It's excellent. We're really excited to talk to everyone. We've been real excited about Connect for Medicare. That was really the last thing we wanted to show you about Connect for Medicare. Was there anything else you had, Dusty?
Let's jump back. I think I saw another question come through, and it said, how much does Connect for Medicare cost? The answer to that is free for all of our agents. So this is something we invested a lot of time and a lot of money in to help our agents, with any way possible that we can. So any agent that is contracted with us, Connect for Medicare is free for you to use, unlimitedly. It's only going to show up the carriers that you have through us on there. So we encourage you obviously to have the more carriers that you have, the more can show up. And what's really nice about that is, again, too, not only are you quoting then, so it's going to only bring up the carriers that you offer. It's tied to your NPN number, so you still get paid directly through the carriers, full commissions. It's just tied to your NPN number, so it works out great for everybody.
I got the questions to work now. Here we go. So we'll go over some of these. Can you actually use a UHC scope to present Humana or Aetna? So the answer is absolutely. The carriers are required to accept any scope of appointment. Some of them may try and sway you one way or the other, but no. And we actually prefer everybody use the generic scope just so you never have to worry, and because more so because it has every product available. Most importantly, the hospital indemnity plans. If you have not been on any of our webinars or spoken to us about selling hospital indemnity, you're missing out. You're leaving money on the table, and a lot of times you could be helping out your clients a little more as well. So, but to answer that question, yes, they do have to accept it. And this is also considered a generic scope if you do use this. Can you add fees to the quote? No, everything within this system is just standardized based on what the carriers have in there. You can add a note to the quote when you send it. So if you would like to add in there, you can. It just would not be officially like on the enrollment or anything like that. Does Connect for Medicare need a separate ID and password? Yes, absolutely. That is one thing that we run into a little bit. We have so much technology now, and we try and get everything to feed off each other. So you have your main password for the Pinnacle website, which is pfsinsurance.com. Then we have our quote engine. Now, if you log into our website, it automatically will log you into the quote engine. However, Connect for Medicare is its entirely own website, which is connectformedicare.com. You have your own login for that, which covers, it links to all your certifications for all the carriers and everything like that. One other thing Dustin mentioned that you should definitely have, regardless of what type of phone or iPad or anything you have, is the Pinnacle quoting app. It is the same as our quote engine, but because it is a mobile app, believe it or not, you actually need an additional login for that. So I know it's a little pain. We're trying to get them all to sync up, but technology is awesome, but it's getting there. It's getting there. Does this app allow for telephonic enrollment? So yes, it does allow for telephonic enrollment. We are waiting for approvals on telephonic signatures, but I mean, yes, it's designed to be able to sell over the phone in regards to sending out the apps, having the clients enroll. One other feature, telephonic signatures are probably going to be a while out based on what they're telling us. However, one thing we're trying to work on with compliance is at least maybe possibly being able to have the agent complete the enrollment for the client and either sending it for just signature like a DocuSign, or at least even maybe doing a screen share. So they fill out the app and then just screen share and the client just checks the box or whatever, so it's a little more simplified.
Another question here, it looks like, what if I'm selling out of state? How will it know? So that's another really good question. You still need to be, this doesn't take away from you needing to be not appointed in, a non-res state and stuff like that. You still need to be, if you're going to be selling these products in your non-resident state, you still need to be licensed and appointed with those carriers in the state that, you're going to be selling it's non-res. Now, it's pretty easy to do that once you're already contracted with us. All you really need to do is contact either one of your sales directors or the licensing team and say, hey, I'd like to get set up with United Healthcare and Humana in, let's just say your resident state is New York and I want to start selling in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. They can set that appointment up for you. They'll let you know if there's any out-of-state fees. We highly recommend not getting set up for all the carriers in non-red states until you're going to be selling in there, because again, they do have some appointment fees for non-red states. So what we say is when you're going to start writing in an out-of-state or you have a piece of business to write, that would be when you would want to add the appointment, to just save yourself a couple bucks from out-of-state appointment fees that are you don't need to pay unless you're going to be writing in those states. That's a good question.
All right, does the client need to sign, or doesn't the client need to sign the SOA? Absolutely. That's what we had done when we had gone through the SOA right here. When at the very bottom of the scope here, I'll just show you a real quick. Oh, it doesn't let me do it because we had already done it. But Yes, at the very bottom of the scope, it's just a digital signature. They had checked off the box and said, yes, I do accept. So yes, it was considered a digital signature there. This one, just as I'm having a really hard time signing into the quoting apps, I've reset my password. It's a long question. It got cut off, but it looks like you're having some trouble with getting into some of the sites and the apps. Give me a call directly after this. My extension is 7728, and I'll take care of that for you in 2 minutes. Don't even sweat. Um, See, if you've already obtained a scope electronically and the client lives in another state, is it necessary to meet with them face to face? No, it is not. You already have your scope. You can simply utilize this system to write the app. You can just email them the app, let them complete it, and you're good to go. Is the app unique for each carrier? Yes. All the apps are done by the carriers. They actually have to do the apps for us, and they're all loaded in individually for every individual plan in each state, everything. So it's quite a process to get this system going. So everyone needs an email address. They would if you're if they're enrolling them themselves, unless they're using someone else's email address, a son, a daughter, a friend, a neighbor, whoever, that may be able to assist them with it. I mean, it's not a required, but yes, I mean, naturally to enroll online, they're going to need access to email. Let's put it that way. I clicked too fast, slow down. I apologize for that. Done this quite a few times. I was a little, if I was going too fast, I apologize. If you'd like to go over anything a little bit more in detail, do not hesitate. Give me a shout. I have been told that before. I do apologize. I'm more than happy to go over it a little bit more one-on-one, and we can bounce around and backtrack anything you may have missed. And it looks like that's about all the questions. As we mentioned one more time, website is pfsinsurance.com. The phone number is 1-800-772-6882. Dustin's extension is 7706. My extension is 7728. Anything we can help you with at all, please do not hesitate. And as I mentioned, today is actually kind of the perfect day. A little slow day after a holiday, right before the weekend. So it's a great day to any additional questions, anything like that. All right. I want to thank everybody for jumping on. Right before a holiday weekend. I hope everybody enjoys your weekend and have a great day.
Thank you very much for joining us, and don't hesitate to reach out with any questions you may have, and I hope everybody has a great weekend.